Hello, this is the conference for Principles of Macro, and this is for chapter 3, right? So we're starting chapter 3, and here we want to learn about the market equilibrium, about the demand side of the market, supply side of the market, and in the end, we bring them together and learn about the demand side of the market, or about the market equilibrium. So what is a market? Market is a place where buyers and sellers, they will interact, right? They will negotiate upon the goods and services that they want to buy and sell. Buyers, they want to buy, and sellers, they want to sell. And buyers, they want to buy at the lowest possible price, and sellers, they want to sell at the highest possible price, right? And they will negotiate, and once an agreement is settled, then the buyer will pay and the seller will make delivery of the good. Now markets, the exchange of goods and services in the market is voluntary, right? No one is forcing. So it's not like paying tax. You don't have options, you have to pay. But in the market, the exchange, the negotiation between buyer and seller, that is voluntary, and this is mutually beneficial. It's good. The exchange is good. It is a gain for both the buyer and seller. Now there are different scopes of the market, right? One is the local scope. So this will be like the demand and supply of gasoline. The gasoline market in the city of New Orleans, right? So you have many gas stations. They are producing gasoline, and you have people living in this New Orleans metropolitan area. So there are consumers, there are sellers, and there is the demand and supply, and there is market for gasoline. On the other hand, a bigger scope of this market for gasoline will be the national. So this is the demand supply for gasoline and the market for the entire the US, right? And then the even larger one will be the international, the world oil market of gasoline. So this is all the buyers, all the sellers, including OPEC, Nigeria, Russia, and countries like Venezuela. Also US, they are big producers or suppliers of oil in the world market. And then our buyers are many other countries, including the suppliers, right? So that is what all of that we have: the world demand for gasoline, world supply of gasoline, and the market for gasoline. Now when the buyers and sellers, they negotiate, they discover price. This is very important. See, on the interaction, the negotiation between buyer and seller will reveal the price of the good. We call that price discovery. And then the future decision of buyer and seller, how much of the goods to buy, and seller's decision how much of the good to sell, will be based on the price that was discovered before. So it is a very important, price is a very important signal. Future decision making of both buyers and seller depend on it. Now let us now develop the demand side of the market first. Demand is what? Demand, it is the amount consumers are willing and able to pay. See, we must have both conditions fulfilled. So if the person is able but is not willing, then that will not be effective demand. We must have both of these filled for demand of a person to be effective, right? Then if I am willing to buy a very expensive sports car, but I really do not have the ability, then that is not demand, right? Now we will soon show you about demand schedule and demand curve. So in the demand curve, we will plot price on the vertical axis and quantity demanded on the horizontal axis, and it will be a downslope line, and we'll soon explain why. Now demand schedule, this is a table that will show us what is the demand for a commodity or a service at every given price. So this will show us the relationship between price and quantity demand. Now, before we give you the law of demand, let us talk about other things equal. This also we call this the ceteris paribus assumption, right? And it means that that when we study something relationship between two variables, all the other variables that interfere, that also influence these variables will remain unchanged. It's a simplifying assumption we need to make to focus on the question at hand, to focus on the relationship between those two variables. Now we have individual demand. This is demand for a good or service by one individual. And then this is market demand, is demand for the good or service for the entire market, for many people in the people in the market. So if you have 3 people or maybe thousands of people, like in the gasoline market for the city of New Orleans, the New Orleans metropolitan area, all the people included in this market demand, right? And this will show you later on is the horizontal sum of all individual demand at a certain price. So we will use the method of horizontal summation, and we will show you later on how we get that, do that method of horizontal sum. Now the next thing is, based on this assumption ceteris paribus, we are now ready to tell you the law of demand, right? So law of demand simply state that as price falls, quantity demanded rises and vice versa. So it is, law of demand is a relationship between price and quantity demanded, and we are saying that it's an inverse relation. When price increases, quantity demanded will fall and vice versa. But ceteris paribus, that means that all the other factors that also affect demand remain unchanged during the time under consideration, right? And what is this? Why is this inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded? There are several reasons. One reason is what? One reason is common sense. You see, because price is the hurdle that a consumer must cross to buy something. So higher price means higher hurdle, and as a result he will buy less. So hence this inverse relationship between that we see in the law of demand. And then the next reason they give us is law of diminishing marginal utility. You see, the more of a good we buy, the lower will be the marginal utility. So marginal utility, we know that is the what? Is the utility or usefulness, the satisfaction we get from consuming the last unit, right? Marginal utility. Now diminishing marginal utility means that as we consume more and more, the marginal utility of each successive unit will be smaller and smaller. See, that is diminishing marginal utility. So we buy more, marginal utility will be smaller, become step by step, and then on marginal utility will be smaller on successive units, and now the price we want to pay for a product depends on this marginal utility. Lower marginal utility means lower, the price we want to pay will also be lower for that commodity. And as a result, we again find that when quantity increases, marginal utility will be lower, and as a result price we want to pay will also be lower. Again, this inverse relationship between price and quantity demand. And then the next two effects are also given as causes for behind law of demand. One is income effect. Income effect tells us that when price increases, purchasing power of money will decrease, and when purchasing power of money decreases, we buy less, right? Effective demand for a commodity will be lower. Now, we are not interested in money for money's sake. We are really interested about the amount of goods and services we can buy. Now, that is the purchasing power of money, right? If price increases, the amount of goods and services that we can buy from the product will decrease, and as a result, what? We will buy less. So again, law of demand holds. Now what about the substitution effect? Substitution effect of a price change is what? When price of something changes, demand will fall because consumers then, to avoid paying higher price, will try to substitute. So if price of Pepsi increases, right? So many consumers will then switch to Coke if Coke price remains the same. After the price of Pepsi increases, Coke becomes relatively cheaper. So many people will switch, and as a result, demand for Pepsi will decrease, right? When price of Pepsi increases. Again, we have this law of demand. Now this is the demand curve that we have to talk to, and this is the demand schedule. Look at that. When price is 5, demand is 10. Price is 4, demand is 20. See? So that is what 5 and 10, and then 4 and 20. So we are plotting price on the vertical axis and quantity on the horizontal axis. And then last one, price is 1, demand jumps to 80, right? Price is 1, demand jumps to 80. And so we have this what? We have this downslope line, see? So, and here we can see that if price decreases, look at that, demand will increase. So see, so this is an inverse relation. So see, then this is the market demand. We now learn how to get get from the individual demand to market demand. Look at that, please. So here, when price is 6, demand by individual A is 1, demand by individual individual B is what? Is 3. So individual A, individual B, those are the two individuals, and we know the individual demand, and then we will do a horizontal summation, see, and then find out that, okay, what is the total demand? Total demand at this price, at that price 6 is what? Is 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. And then for the next one, price is 5, and then individual demand is 2. Individual demand for person B is 4. So again, 2 plus 4 is what? Is 6. So this is the method of horizontal summation that we said before. So if we assume that this is in this market we have just individual A and individual B, then this will be the market demand curve. So this is market demand and related with market price, see? With price. Now this is the graph. Look at that. When price is 6, this is demand for individual A, 1 unit. When price is 6, this is demand for individual B, which is 3 units, right? So this is like 1 unit, this is like 3 unit, you add them together. So when price is 6, then demand is what? 4 units, see that? And similarly we repeat for price 5, price 6, price 7, and we get similar answer. So we now, in the end, we get this market demand curve with the method of horizontal summation. Now this is another example. I leave it up to you. So look, this is price 5, demand of individual A is 1, demand for individual B is 2, and rest of the market, rest of the people, demand for is 3. So see, so in this market they have 3 individuals, and you add all of them. So market demand at that price $5 is how much? Is 6, and vice versa. So see, similarly, if you have, instead of just 3, if you have 1,000 more customers, for each customers you will have a column, then this sum will extend, up to 100 columns, see? Okay.